Yeah. Good morning, everyone. My name is Meghna, as you mentioned, and I'm here to talk with you today about the UN Plastics Treaty and the role of the Business Coalition in advocating for a very ambitious treaty. And I'd also like to share a message of opportunity and optimism with you in relation to what we can achieve together, uniting leaders from across industries to champion progress on plastic pollution. We stand at the crossroads of one of the most significant environmental crises of our time, plastic pollution. What we do now has the potential to improve the future of our planet, and the Global Plastics Treaty is our opportunity to rewrite this story. By uniting nations, businesses, and communities, we aim to reverse the tide of plastic pollution and ensure a healthier, sustainable future for generations to come. There is power in global action. As an example, over 3.8 billion has been invested by PAC members in South Africa alone, supporting a transition to a circular economy. National, international initiatives, including EPR laws and the Global Plastics Treaty, are fueling the movement towards sustainability. And as momentum builds locally and globally, businesses are increasingly well-positioned to tap into the lasting value of a circular economy. That said, there is an urgency for us to act now. The global plastics crisis demands unified action from all of us. Thanks to the collective efforts across the globe, more than 200 nations have committed to ending plastic pollution. Innovations in circular economies, plastic alternatives, and sustainable design are paving the way for a cleaner future, and the time is ripe for solutions, and the opportunity is before us. So what is the path forward? The Global Plastics Treaty aims to establish legally binding global rules that address, sorry, my video is playing. I think I did what you did, Anton, just clicked a bit too. Sorry. Oops. My apologies. The Global Plastics Treaty aims to establish legally binding global rules that address plastic pollution at every stage, from production to disposal. This treaty isn't just about policy, it's about transforming how we engage with plastic as a resource, and it's about the establishment of global rules. Let's watch a quick video, please.
Rules. Why do we need rules? Well, without clear rules, things can get messy. Very messy. Rules are good. They level the playing field. The thing is, this isn't a film about sports, it's about plastics. And when it comes to plastics, the playing field has become much bigger, as in global. That's why a coalition of over 200 businesses is asking for global rules. Global rules that help us reduce, reuse, and redesign. Because global rules scale solutions, spark innovation, and mobilize investment. So let's adopt global rules to end plastic pollution. Business needs global rules.
As you've heard, global rules and a level playing field are critical for business. We're now going to run through the Business Coalition's role and impact, and then we'll discuss why an ambitious treaty is important for governments, for people, for businesses, and for the planet. And we'll finally take a quick look at some of the specific elements that will shape a successful and impactful treaty. Several of you may be wondering which organizations constitute the Business Coalition. We are a significant group of organizations committed to ending plastic pollution by growing a circular economy. As you can see on the screen, there are too many organizations to list by name. Coalition members span financial institutions, brands and retailers, converters and producers, as well as waste management companies, NGOs, and other companies, uniting leaders across industries to champion progress on addressing plastic pollution. So why do we need a treaty? In order to tackle plastic pollution at scale, a legally binding global treaty is necessary. Voluntary measures have fallen short, and country-specific efforts have not been enough to curb the crisis. As a result, a UN-led effort has sought to galvanize support for a comprehensive treaty that addresses the entire life cycle of plastics. I'd now like to tell you a little bit more about the treaty and the upcoming negotiations and the role of the Business Coalition. And thank you to my esteemed colleagues who spoke before me. I think you have some context already. The Global Plastics Treaty aims to create a legally binding international framework for the entire life cycle of plastics, from production to disposal, ensuring sustainable plastic management worldwide. The INC5 negotiations set for November 2024 in Busan are a critical milestone. So nations will gather to finalize key elements of the treaty, setting targets, frameworks, and commitments that will guide global plastic management for decades to come. And the goal of the INC5 is to solidify the foundations for immediate coordinated action and long-term strategies that move us closer to eliminating plastic waste globally. Within the context of the treaty, and that clarified, let me tell you a bit more about the Business Coalition. The coalition was launched in September 2022, and it started with about 80 members. Today, we can boast of over 230 organizations that are united in our shared mission to drive systemic change. We envision a circular economy where plastic never becomes waste and retains its value within the economy. And according to some, by 2040, known circular solutions could reduce plastic pollution by 80% and achieve near zero pollution by 2060. The key steps towards us achieving our vision are, firstly, the reduction of plastic pollution and use through a circular economy approach, which means we'll need to eliminate plastic materials, components, or additives that hinder recyclability or compostability or have a high risk of leaking into nature. Furthermore, we'll have to transition towards reusable, durable plastics, and thank you to the DDG for mentioning that as well, while encouraging the use of alternative materials that can be effectively recycled and demonstrate lower environmental impacts. Secondly, we'll need to ensure the circulation of all plastic items that cannot be eliminated, and this can be done in 4 key ways: by designing products and systems for plastics to be reused, recycled, or composted in practice and at scale; by accelerating the take-up of new business and delivery models at scale that reduce the need for single-use and short-lived applications; thirdly, by mobilizing sufficient and dedicated public and private funding for infrastructure and systems to collect, sort, and recycle plastics; and by improving the quality of recycled plastics that can be used in a broad range of uses. And thirdly, we need to prevent and remediate the remaining hard-to-abate micro and macroplastic leakage into the environment, enhancing governance and infrastructure to ensure the safe disposal of plastics that can't be eliminated or recycled, and establish high-efficiency collection systems. We need to explore strategies to help stop microplastics from entering the environment, focusing on sources like abrasion, fiber shedding, and pellet loss. Some reports, such as the one I reference here from CSIR, have modeled 3 pathways within the South African context and take a very balanced approach to plastic and to economic sustainability while increasing jobs. The switch to alternative materials and reuse models have not been considered in these reports, so the positive impact on jobs could be higher. We are absolutely cognizant of the need to realize business value, both broadly as well as in terms of jobs created, while keeping costs low to put in place the infrastructure required. And as we explore circular economies, building this out, this optimal scenario out, we'll need to find a balanced way forward will be critical. Let's now turn to why an ambitious treaty matters. It's important for a number of reasons and will have a positive bearing on governments, people, businesses, and the planet. This is a treaty for governments and for people, as it will enable a reduction on public spending on waste management, sharing the cost for finding solutions for product design, and will enable them to support new business opportunities for micro, small, and medium enterprises, as well as those in the informal sector. Upstream solutions will create new job opportunities. In addition, the treaty will provide increased oversight and reduction of cross-border divergence in regulations. This is a treaty for business. Harmonized global rules will create a level playing field across the plastics value chain, scaling solutions, sparking innovation, and mobilizing investment by, amongst other areas, reducing operational complexity and compliance risk across markets, enabling businesses to plan investments while managing the cost of compliance, as opposed to an increase in variance in product design and reduced recyclability, and increased regulatory complexity for both local and international companies. And finally, this is a treaty for the planet. Harmonized global rules will deliver multiple environmental benefits with the greatest probability of eliminating mismanaged plastic waste by 2040. As we look towards INC 5 and the upcoming negotiations in Korea, I'd like to walk you through what a successful treaty could look like. Breaking the broad treaty into 4 key areas, the agreement at INC 5 must include unified global standards with clear guidelines for plastic products, chemicals, and design, with commitments to both EPR and effective waste management. This is key. Secondly, there will need to be support for implementation. Thirdly, we will need to focus in on sector-specific programs, tailoring initiatives to sectors like packaging rather than leaving the mandate too broad. And finally, and arguably one of the most important areas, will be the need for robust monitoring and evaluation so that the policies can be adapted over time to achieve the optimal outcome. So to close, this really is our opportunity. It's a treaty that matters for business. Systemic's Plastics Futures report released this year stated that plastic-related activities are expected to generate 70% more jobs compared to 2019 levels. And what's most interesting is that these new jobs are what we colloquially call green jobs. Together, we have the opportunity to lead the world into a sustainable, circular future where plastic is not waste, but a resource that powers innovation, creates jobs, and drives long-term value. Let's shape this future together. Thank you.